Hey, good evening. Welcome to the Outpost. This evening we're doing a white box game for the online virtual GaryCon 12. This game is going to be called Whispers from Within. I have four players this evening, and the background on this is the halfling baron by the name of Frumple Youngturnipp has sealed his western borders from incursions by nomads and outcasts from the lands beyond. The good Baron Youngturnipp fears an outbreak of disease and other unwanted maladies upon his people. So there's a fort by the name of Fort Westfyre that stands alone in the Saltchess Mountains at the border of his barony on the western side. Your detachment has been sent with extra supplies to reinforce the current garrison that is stationed there at Westfyre. It's cold, it's winter. You see the welcoming smoke from the fortress as you make your final approach. It would seem, though, the temperatures have been dropping below what's usually normal for this time of year. So you're looking forward to warming yourself near the hearth there at the fort. Have some extra hot food, hot drink or cold drink as you prefer. Find a blanket for the night. But wait, as you approach, is that bodies of giants that you see outside the fortress lying? What is all that smoke clearing now? Maybe it would appear the fortress has been under some type of attack. Your pace now quickens as you tighten your grip on your sword hilt, your spear shaft. You knock an arrow or slip a dagger in your hand. David, if you're going to tell me about who you're going to be playing, what are your thoughts as you see the bodies of these giants and see that possibly the fort has been attacked upon your approach?
This is very concerning to me. Giants are something that Heward has never seen before. So to see dead ones, he feels a little comfortable in that, but he's afraid of what might be around the corner. But he takes a slug of his brandy and muscles on.
All right, perfect. Crystal, tell me about who you're playing and what your thoughts are on as you take in the scene of this.
I'm playing Balder, who is from the north. As he sees the scene, he pulls his shield into his hand and says, what's that pint-sized halfling prince got us into this time? He takes his sword into his hand and kind of puts it over his shoulder and just having it out, kind of being a bit of a comfort to him.
Yep, as you move forth, Balder, we'll jump over to you, Davin. If you can tell me about who you're playing and what their thoughts are as you see the giants lying in the smoke pouring from the fortress.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm playing Boxer. Boxer, he's kind of caught by the moment, the scene that lays out in front of him, and takes out a little bit of parchment and charcoal and tries to make just a little bit of a sketch of this scene that struck him. He folds it back up and puts it away and looks at his comrades and says, I think we're in for something very strange. And I don't feel good about it.
Sounds perfect. As we go to our last character, Angus, if you can tell me what his thoughts are as you approach.
Well, this confirms it. This confirms it. If you make a halfling go the wrong way through a telescope, they will both become contorted and they will become unwittingly aggressive. I know of several people who said just the opposite would happen, but this is definitive evidence. And it suggests that a conspiracy has been at foot for some time, and it's not clear to me that Baron Youngturnipp is not in on it altogether. I get out my crystal ball, and I want to use it to scry inside the grounds to see if the conspirators are still around and meaning to do ill to to us as well.
Perfect. You take out your crystal ball, and as you do and start the enchantment of looking there,
I call my crystal ball Zoom, by the way.
Zoom, perfect. As you look into Zoom and take the moments to look through there, the first thing you see is the smoke, is clearing out of your vision as you see the smoke coming off of the fort as you go past the bodies of what appear to be two. You wouldn't even know them as mountain giants or snow giants. They're called several things here, but you see the
inverted halflings is what.
Yep. And you go inside of the fort and you see bodies of the militia and bodies of the soldiers in the garrison. You just see them strewn out everywhere, and you see carnage, and you see carts turned over and smoke coming from some of the buildings. And what you see is nothing. You appear nothing alive at this point from a quick look through.
I report the good news to my colleagues that it seems to be safe to go in.
All right.
We're supposed to trust this magic ball that you keep around.
Oh, no, no, no. You can stay out here if you want.
Well, given the two choices, I suppose that I'll lead the way.
I like that idea.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
And, Balder, having the proud heritage of his ancestry who drove the giants out of his homeland, he'll take up his shield and begin leading the way, knowing that if any giant crosses his path, that they will die to his sword.
Balder, you lead the way of the group, and you're bringing the supplies and some wagons and carts yourself. You approach and you go past the two dead bodies of two of the mountain giants that are there, and as you walk by, you would think that they've probably been there for maybe a good day or so. There are some carrion birds that are starting to feed on them, and you see, of course, all different type of wounds to them. As you make your way into the fort, the two main gates to the fort are completely, one of them is completely torn off and pulled away. The other one just kind of hanging down and half open. And if it wasn't in the ground, the wind would probably make it swing back and forth, but it's stuck in the ground, halfway open. You peer in and see the smoke, coming up from some of the buildings and the bodies everywhere.
Before we head into the camp, can Balder look at the bodies? Do they look like they've been looted yet?
The giant bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take a look at them. They're wearing all different hides and furs and stuff.
He would like to check them over, see if they have anything of value on them.
Yeah, roll me a d6.
All right. 4.
All you find on them is their weapons. Their giant-sized weapons are lying next to them. You don't find any other kind of relics or valuables or anything that would appear to be anything in the interest of you.
Well, it looks like they've already been looted.
Is there oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just wondering if I could kind of take a look at some of the footprints and see if maybe, like, obviously there's going to be human size and there's going to be giant size. Can I just have a look around to see if there's anything else kind of in the mix? Was there somebody else kind of playing around?
Yeah, you look cured by taking time, and of course you see the giant footprints themselves. You see some human footprints of different size, from probably a small frame to large frame humans. You actually notice leading up from the fort itself, once you go outside, you're all kind of in an open flat area, but it starts climbing on up into the mountain range of Saltchess Mountains, not far from the fort. And you see tracks leading away. You notice one set of giant tracks. And if you look close enough, you wouldn't even have to look that close, but you find drops of blood in these giant tracks that maybe this giant that is left is probably injured or has been injured to some extent. But you notice it, and you notice two pair of human prints leaving with it. One of them appears to be probably a small weighted, small frame person. The other one is probably a heavier person that would even maybe you would think would be in armor.
And And those tracks are going opposite the direction of the camp, like away from
Exactly. They lead away from the camp on up into the mountain range itself, correct?
Three sets of tracks.
Yep, one giant and two human tracks.
And
Is there any? Oh, go ahead.
Inside the fort, there's no one else around.
Once you get inside the fort and start looking around, you see mainly the bodies of, you don't see any giants in here. Both of the dead giants are outside, but you start looking around. Everybody roll me a d6 as you're kind of looking inside the fort. If you get a 1 or 2, let me know.
I got a 2.
Oh, nice.
Or
Yep, if you got a 2, you hear a faint noise coming from a corner kind of the buildings, kind of under some debris that has fallen. You hear a voice going, "Please, someone help me. Please, someone help me."
Sounds like it's from under some debris there.
Yeah, there's some debris along the side of a building there. It's fallen in.
Without hesitation, Heward heads towards the voice and to try to assess the situation.
if they're
You
still
make it-
alive, ask them where the blankets and the hot drinks are.
When you make it over, you see this figure lying up under, and you would know this is one of the sergeants of the garrison. His name is Frank Davis. And he's appears to be pretty injured. There's blood running down part of him. He's still in his armor, but he looks up at you. He says, "Thank goodness. I wish I would have made it here yesterday, though."
Oh my! Is he trapped under anything?
Yeah, you can tell one of his legs is pinned by some type of wooden pole that has fallen on it. You would figure he's probably got a fractured leg from it.
Yeah, I'll help you clear the debris if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to try to start cleaning out the debris.
Yep, you can remove the debris off of him. He's still conscious and alert enough, and he goes, "I don't know what happened. All I can tell you is yesterday morning after breakfast, some of the gate guards were changing out shifts, and there was a fog that started pouring in down from the mountains. Not a usual fog. It was deep. It was thick, rolling over the fort. And the next thing you know, the giants were upon us."
How many were there?
Oh, there were 3 of them. I think we took 2 of them down.
We saw your handiwork.
What kind of giants were they?
Didn't we see far more than 3 outside?
There were, it was those mountain giants, snow giants, whatever you want to call them. But the strange thing about it is, right before they appeared out of the fog, there was whispers, voices coming from the fog itself, almost human voices. But next thing you know, the giants appeared from there.
So sorry,
Alright,
he's saying the giants attacked them?
Yep, he's telling you that the giants of this fog, once this fog rolled in and covered everything up, and all of a sudden the giants just appeared out of it and attacked the fort.
And he said that there were just 3, but didn't we see more corpses of giants outside the wall, or was it only 1 or 2?
You saw 2. You actually saw 2 corpses outside, and you saw footprints of what appeared to be an injured one that Hugh had found that's
Right,
leading off
okay.
into the mountains.
So that accounts for all of them.
Correct.
Does he know who the other tracks might be that would have been following them?
Oh, I don't. Have you found the commander yet? Is he still here? Have you found his body in the fort?
We just got here.
I think it's probably safe at this point to, now that we've interrogated him, if you guys actually want to lift the log, I promise not to get in the way.
Oh yeah, I thought we already. I
Yeah,
thought we
we're
did that.
clearing that
Yeah, I
debris.
thought we did that.
Is he
He's
already
not
out?
free. Can we stand him up?
Yeah, you can stand him up. He's in a lot of pain, and you can definitely tell he's got a shattered leg now.
Okay. I can fetch some material from around in the trees and stuff to try and splint it.
While he's doing that, I'd like to look around the base real quick. Specifically, I'm looking for a ranged weapon, longbow, crossbow, something.
Yeah, you can find, of course, any weapons still there. I mean, they have an armory that appears to not have been disturbed at all. You can find any type of weapons or ammunition to go with them.
I offer him part of the cabbage that I've been carrying around, and yeah, no, Tony gave me a link, and I got some great equipment out of it. So
Exactly.
It's really good stuff.
I'm keen to share my cabbage, but I am interested as to where they're hiding the blankets around here, because it is getting cold, and I offer to go into a room, and I kindle a fire and try and learn a little bit more about whether or not anyone else is, whether he thinks anyone else has survived, or whether or not there were two other humans that he has any suspicions about that may have retreated with this surviving giant.
Yeah, and he's listening intently and starts trying to answer questions, and he's like, "We've got to find the captain. The captain. We've got to find at least his body or something, and then find him here. He's got to be here." And you all would know, been here before. You would know the captain is a gentleman, an older human by the name of Mark Morgan, is the captain of this fort. You start searching around. And Sergeant Davis is very worried because y'all look throughout the fort. You do not find the body of the captain at all.
Having raided the armory, Bowler comes back and he has a longbow on his back and quiver of 20 arrows on the side, and now a spear in his hand with his longsword still on his longsword now it's sheath. And he says, well, there were a couple of trucks out in the snow, so it's possible that your captain went to chase after that last remaining giant. I say we go make sure that, that he kills it.
Sergeant Davis looks up and he says, well, in questioning about the giants, I did not see any humans appear out of the fog with them. All we ever saw was the giants, but the whispers, the voices were human. And the captain, he's a brave man, but I don't see him hunting the giants down by himself. He's brave, but he's not that brave.
Sergeant, I think you need to reconsider your position here. The good news is that you are the commander of this fort, and we should call you captain. I stand up and I salute him.
Oh, please, thank you for that. But until we find the captain himself, either alive or dead or whatever, he's still the captain. But I guess I am the ranking officer. Well, I'm the only officer left.
I'm not convinced that he wants to be found. I think this is a field promotion that you can be proud of. Your men did excellent.
So
is this a way
as far as we can tell?
I would like to just questions. I would assume, since we're familiar with this area, we would know. Is there like a lookout area or sort of higher ground past any fortification within there? And would we know where the captain's quarters might be?
Yeah, you would be able to find the captain's quarters here in the fort, and you would also know on into the mountain range itself that the fort actually is built like a little cabin. You know, like when they send some of the soldiers out to hunt, you know, or hunt or trap or something. They have a little cabin in the mountains, but yeah, you could find the captain's quarters here in the fort itself, no trouble.
Because I'm wondering if we could take a look and see if either at some observation point or either from the captain to see if he'd received any notes or any information prior, like perhaps he might have been noticing anything or been aware of something that was coming sort of prior to the fog rolling in, or perhaps may have left something that would have given us a clue about
Boxer, you're beginning to understand these conspiracies quite well. The conspiracists always leave behind clues.
We need to pick up on some trail. I'm a little bit hesitant to just dive out into the forest and tracking something we don't know very little about. We should get whatever information we can.
I agree.
Even if it's distracting information.
Yeah, the sergeant will take you, you know, you get him a crutch, a homemade crutch or whatever, where he can try to get around. He's in a lot of pain, but he will take you up to the captain's quarters, and you can search the captain's quarters. And Davin, I'm going to send you a message about a book that you find, what you find in this book. Let me type it up real quick.
Okay.
What say you, finger wiggler? Have you ever heard of these voices in the fog before?
In fact, my one of my teachers was one of the original developers of the Whispering Way. I had not heard that the inverted halflings had mastered his techniques, but it doesn't surprise me. He would tell anyone who cared to sit through his lectures. It is. What do I know about this?
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
Do I know anything about this myself? Besides what I'm willing to bloviate about?
Nope, not at all.
All right, so that restricts my.
So I'm going to share what I see in this book that I find. Looks like a log book or something. He's recorded some notes. He says it's been a lot of colder weather lately. It's too early this time of year for it. It's going to be a cold winter. So he's certainly a man sensitive to the seasons, but he's noting that this is unusually cold. So I'm not sure what that means, but maybe he's just being sensitive to the fact that something odd's going on. He's attributing it to the weather, but who knows?
A winter witch.
Maybe. There's one for every season, isn't there?
I had not previously considered that a winter witch might be engaged in this particular scheme, but I suppose anything's possible.
Would I be able to tell, like, from this entry? I'm assuming this is like the latest entry in the logbook. Is it dated? Would I know that it was just something written this morning or yesterday?
Yep, you would. Good question. You would actually see a date. You can tell this is like the captain's journal. He probably does every evening when he goes to his chambers. You would tell the date on this was two days ago. So it would have been 1 day prior to the actual attack, from what you can put together.
Okay. Well, he certainly didn't bother to log any entries after that.
Might have had his hands full. I'd like to ask Sergeant Davis about the guards that were changing up. Is he familiar with them? Like, was it anybody new to the fort? Was this?
Yep, good question. He will tell you that all the troops that have been there, that switch in and out, like your group coming in, that all of y'all are well known. I mean, they've had no new recruits lately. The guards that were switching out are probably some of the best men, and but he said nothing suspicious about any of the men that he knew of the past few days that have been acting strange or different.
Okay.
And I correct him, it's Captain Davis.
That's right. All right. Captain Davis.
Can we look
Oh,
around? Do we
so-
see? Are there any other men that might be trapped under any other debris here, or is it pretty much vacated and or full of just dead bodies?
Yep, you search around, you find no other living soldiers besides the sergeant himself and the missing captain, either the captain's body or the captain's still alive missing, but all the other bodies are accounted for as y'all, go through.
And is it what time of day is it again here right now? Is it?
Y'all probably got there in the late afternoon, we'll say about 3 o'clock roughly.
Yeah, I was gonna
You would
think
know
that.
it's probably about 3 hours, 3 more hours after you got there till nightfall.
Okay, so it's still pretty visible. And is there anywhere to kind of get a vantage point to see a little bit more about those tracks leading off, or is it just kind of disappear into the forest?
If you will go off and follow the tracks, they're very easy as you see them leading up into the mountain range itself. You would think there hasn't been any snow today, so you would think at this point, unless it snows overnight and covers them up, that these tracks are going to be fairly easy to follow.
I think it's the nature of this kind of mindset to cover your tracks as soon as you can to at least obscure things, and that we would be it would be foolhardy to trust to this weather to assume that it wouldn't snow over by morning. As much as I hate to go back out into the snow, I'm willing to do it in the name of truth. How long does the crystal ball last?
I'm going to say, y'all have probably been there, we'll say a good hour, surely after you've done all this. I'm going to say it's starting to fade out. You have 3 uses per day, but the first use of it's pretty much fading out after an hour.
So actually an hour is pretty good. That means that we could use it to scout ahead as we follow the tracks.
Yeah.
So for an hour, we'd be able to have the perspective of a good deal ahead of where we were. Like,
Yeah, I take out my blue bandana and my red cape, and I don those, and then I tear off a bite of dried beef, and I pull out my mirror and take a look at myself and say, "Let's go."
good use of random equipment.
I feel with all the food product, we could just spend the entire time eating all of this great stuff. It's such good stuff.
They more or less gave me gorp. I've got a bag of berries and a bag of nuts.
I got a small bag of nut shells.
Well, I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do with this block and tackle that I got here.
I'm sure
Mount it on the giant and use it to climb up.
Beautiful.
I take out I have this orange blanket, and so I take it out to the now captain and offer him a blanket to kind of add some extra warmth, because it's going to be cold around, and we're going to probably be leaving him.
Yeah, no. Blankets were top on my list when I got here. So he's got a blanket, and perhaps, given how many corpses there are out there are a few blankets to spare at this point.
Yeah, but none like my orange one.
None like the orange one. That's a great color orange you bring from the city, my friend.
It's bright. We could spot him at a distance if we need to.
Yep, and of course the sergeant / temporary captain is very happy. Y'all maybe fix up the fireplace for him and have some wood stored there. He says he's going to try to locate one of the fort's ravens to send a message back, back to where y'all come from to the barony, that they've been attacked, and that y'all are in pursuit of the attackers and hopefully bring them to justice. But y'all do want to head out late that evening and try to follow these tracks, correct?
We're going to try and head out as soon as possible. That gives us, if they're 3 hours, we can go an hour and a half before we need to make a critical decision as to whether to turn around, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You'd have an hour and a half at the most before it starts getting dark here.
I'm gonna grab one of these extra hides from the giants over there and just hurl one up over top, just to keep myself a little extra warm before we depart.
Or smother
All right,
yourself.
perfect.
Are we not gonna follow this?
Yeah, let's follow it.
I would like to follow the trail.
Yeah, and they're very easy. Like I say, it's the giant trail, and you see the blood, that's dripping in the tracks and along the trail where this giant is going up into the mountains, and can definitely deduce that he's injured, but to what extent, you really don't know. And you follow see the two human tracks next to him, and it's still the same, like a soft footfall of maybe a small weighted human, and then you see the heavier footfalls, which you can probably deduce that it's somebody in armor. So it may be the captain, may not, but you can definitely tell it's a heavier footfall that's going into the snow. Y'all follow them for the hour and a half, and it's getting just bitter cold. I mean, you can tell it's going to be a cold night, and you'll say to yourselves the same thing, but hey, this time of year it's cold, but not this cold.
And there's no sign besides the tracks just seem to go on and on. There's no sign of a habitation, or are they following a trail?
No, they're just going up in the mountain, kind of making their own trail. And you'd probably know where that cabin is. We'll call it the hunting cabin, the fort. You would know kind of where it's at. And it seems like that path is going, the trail of the giant and the two human prints are going kind of in the direction of where that hunting cabin is. And you would know that to reach that hunting cabin, it would be probably the next day, early the next morning, before you could probably get up that high enough to where it's at.
Oh, you dropped out right there. How long would it be to reach the hunting cabin?
You would probably the next morning, early the next morning, before you could reach it.
So we need to find a place to bed down for the night.
Yep, that would be your best deduction. If you're going to stay, you'd have to definitely find a place to camp out here.
Sorry, camp out along the trail or camp out before we trudge in?
To camp on the trail, you'd have to find a place to camp there in the mountains before you get there.
Are there any caves nearby?
Sure, you can find you a cave there. You sure can.
I'll light it up so that we have nice warm glow. I go for a like a 120 watt soft white. And I'll look after the fodder here if you guys will take care of firewood.
Yeah.
You could
Are we
actually
gonna
got
fire at the mouth of the cave?
and you could actually got some firewood from the fort itself to take with you, enough to make it a day or two.
So we're above tree line then, or something?
Yeah, you're starting to get out above tree line for sure at this point.
All right. So yeah, do you guys have anything else we should do at night besides bed down and get ready for tomorrow?
I think we should set up a watch for the night.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'd like to go either first or last, so I don't have to wrestle with this armor every time.
Yeah, that's true. Me too. So I'll either go. I can go first if you want to go last, because I got a little bit of chainmail that I gotta doff and don.
All right.
Before I call it in, I forgot to check this. When I use these spells, they're gone for the day and they come back the next day. Is it?
Yep. If you get a full night's sleep, they will return to you in the next morning as you wake, refresh.
So should I stay out of the watch rotation then?
No, you can actually take one and still have enough rest, unless you get disturbed during the night.
Then before I go to bed, I want to detect magic on some aspect of this weather, either if a fog rolls in or detect magic on the temperature. This just feels like a winter witch might be at work here.
Yep, you can use detect magic. I will send you a message to kind of get what you get from that.
While he's detecting magic, I pull out my red trousers and slip those on because I like to wear those at night.
So you can be seen easy.
Yeah.
Well, it says light red trousers. They're not crimson, light red color. They're comfy and I enjoy sleeping in them. They're also pretty stretchy in case I need to be on my feet in the middle of the night.
Baldur pulls out a small wooden snuff box and says to Heward, "How about a little something to help keep you awake during your shift?"
Much obliged. Much obliged.
I come back with the weather report, and it's not a good one. There are dark magics afoot. There's a evil of the kind that that could only be executed by someone who used reverse telescopic magic to change the size of various things. And this probably started as a cool breeze and has been reverse telescoped into something of this dark and hideous nature. They knew what they were doing.
Sounds like one of them does.
Do we know about any particular kind of creatures or beasts or anything to look out for in this area or something? Is it heavy bear or wolf territory or anything?
You would know probably in the mountains. I mean, there's various different type of creatures and all that, you know, from wolves to, you know, there's some snow orcs, mountain orcs here. You know, there's a clan of dwarves that's on up higher in the Saltchess Mountains themselves. You know, they usually stay to themselves. They hardly ever come down. They're friendly with the fort though, but they pretty much stay away from any contact from anyone.
Don't ask that question to Grips. Grips has a long list of things to look out for.
Let's say Hurd, you're taking the first watch, and Baldur, you were going to take the last, I believe. Who would want the second? Either Boxer or Grips?
I'll take the second watch.
All right.
Was it only like 3 of us through the night? Like, can Grips?
No,
get a night?
it's going to be all 4. Each of you will take a shift.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll take third.
All right. Let's see what happens, Hurd, as you begin your little watch. You know, you stoke the fire up, you know, there at the cave entrance or just inside the cave here as the rest of them are resting. You start seeing a light snowfall coming down. I mean, it's very light though, as it starts falling, but it's just, you get that feel of cold, just coldness. You know, it should be another month in the winter before it feels this cold than what it is now. Nothing else happens.
Okay.
Boxer, you're awoken for your watch. Same thing, just a light snowfall off and on. I mean, it comes and goes. The cold. Nothing else happens on your watch.
I stick my
you
tongue
wake,
out like
you wake up the
snowflakes.
magic Grips. And Grips, you know, you sit there and maybe prepare your stuff.
I wake
for the
up with a
next day.
start.
Wake up with a snort.
With a shock start, ready for any eventuality.
Yep, and you get none. I mean, even the snow stops on it. You don't see any of the snow come down on your watch, Grips. I mean, it goes by where you're kind of nodding off and on, but you're able to make through it as you wake the fighter up for the last shift of the night.
I take that as evidence that the Winter Witch knows to be on her guard against me.
Baldur, you start your shift out about an hour into it and roll me a d6.
Great. Oh, awesome. 1.
All right. About an hour into your shift, Baldur, there's no snow. The snow is stopped. You hear what you would think would be almost like a chant or a song coming. And you look out on the trail and you notice the three of these mountain dwarves are walking along, and with them is these two giant badgers as they're moving down the trail from the mountain. They do not see you, or your fire or anything yet. But you would know this would be definitely the dwarves from up higher in the mountains. It's some type of patrol that's coming down out of the mountains.
Would I know if these guys have a reputation of being friendly or not?
Yes, like I said earlier, they're very friendly with the fort. They're on good terms with the fort.
Okay. All right. Well, if Balder sees them, then he'll call out to them. Hell, good morning.
When you say that, you startle him, and the one in the front, he kind of grips his axe even tighter, and he looks over and he says, "Oh, you're from the fort. We were heading there, hopefully, to try to get there tomorrow to trade some furs."
Well, I'm afraid, friend, it's going to be a while before the fort's able to trade again. There were complications. It's been attacked by someone.
That is not good news. There's strange things been going on in the mountains lately. The weather has seemed to be much colder than it normally is, and the giants have seemed to be more active. We haven't had to battle any of them lately, but we've seen quite a few of their trails and their tracks.
Have you seen any tracks of late? For it's actually what we're hunting.
Well, we noticed the trail leading on up that there appears to be some type of injured giant going up. I don't know, you've probably seen it too, the trail leading up with the blood.
Indeed. I believe our captain may already have given chase to it.
Did you happen to notice anyone following that trail?
Did you weight boxer them up, Balder, or not?
I have not.
Oh,
Yep.
I thought it was morning already. Sorry.
Nope, it's probably about an hour before morning. This is probably the last hour of his shift before.
All right, I'm snoozing in my comfy red pants still. Sorry.
We haven't had any visual on that one, but we did notice, like you say, there's some smaller tracks there with it. We figured maybe it's some of those ice goblins, but maybe it is us humans. I don't know, but if you're going on up in the mountains, like I say, you be careful. The giants are definitely on the move.
Indeed. You guys be careful as well. Now, do you know if the giants tend to keep prisoners ever?
They usually just eat you.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll keep our eyes open for those ice goblins as well.
Be safe. We're going down to the fort and see if there's any way we can assist them.
Much obliged. And once they move on and everything, and Balder will start cooking up some breakfast before everyone wakes up. And once they wake up, he'll tell them of the encounter he had with the dwarves this morning.
Okay.
And they think that the second set of tracks could have been from goblins. Of course, we didn't hear anything about any goblins attacking the fort. So,
Be interesting.
When you asked the dwarves about the winter witch, what did they say?
Oddly, I didn't get a chance to ask about the winter witch.
You didn't ask the dwarves about the winter witch?
I figured, we'll take her when we get her,
Well, yes, but we need to be prepared. Indeed, if they have their entire, it's one thing if it's a rogue winter witch, but if it's a winter witch that has their entire peoples in thrall, for example, in fact, could you confirm that they had not been sent by the winter witch to spy on the fort?
Well, they didn't even notice that we were here, so I doubt it.
Very good deduction. Their skills betray them.
Indeed.
Any exact preparations you want to make that morning, you know, as you start to head back out? Even though it's snow, the light snow, you can still definitely see the trail. It's probably fairly easy to follow continuing up, and it's still going the direction of the hunting cabin.
The fact that you can still see the trail really clearly is very disappointing to Grips, because it suggests that first off, these conspirators are inadequate in covering their tracks, and second off, it means that we could have spent the night in the warmer fort, and instead we're out here chilling our biscuits.
I'm warm in my trousers and extra hides.
Well, you haven't even seen my large light trousers, but even they were inadequate to this this chill last night. I'm worried that they know I'm coming. They managed to stop the storm during my watch.
I think the conspiracy is stacking pretty deep for you, is it not?
It is becoming a worthy conspiracy.
All I know is I'm interested in moving along, and I think I got myself a little overheated, so I'm going to pull my sandals out of my pack and put those on for a little bit.
All
Let
right.
my feet cool a little bit.
So I guess we continue our ascent.
You do. You follow the giant tracks with the blood dripping. You notice the blood is, you know, kind of maybe not as much. Maybe the giant has put some type of bandage or a giant-sized band-aid on it or something, but it's still enough. The tracks themselves are easy to follow. About 2 hours in, you come up on what you would know would be the hunting cabin that belongs to the fort here. The front door is standing wide open.
Is there any sound or smell or smoke coming out of there, or can we see any movement inside?
No sound, no movement. You see the tracks, the giant tracks, and the two human-sized tracks are leading right up to it, though.
And the blood trail continues on into the structure?
Once you get to the structure, the giant seems to just kind of walk around. You can tell it's making, you know, just a trail around it. The two human tracks actually lead on into the cabin, have led into the cabin itself.
So the giant tracks go outside of it. They venture off into another direction, or
yeah, it's just like maybe the giant was outside, you know, standing, walking around, waiting for the humans. You would probably think, you know, it's just kind of been walking, making a circle around, probably maybe while the humans went inside of it.
But so there's a circle, but does it appear to like venture off away?
No, it's still not at all, not yet.
And did the human tracks leave the cabin then?
No, you can. I mean, yes, I'm sorry, they did. You can tell it appears that they went in and have exited. And then once you start looking and seeing that, you see the human tracks take off first on up into the mountains, and then you can kind of see maybe where the giant caught up with them from the side. You know, it kind of run at an angle to catch up with them, and you see they're leading off into the mountains again.
So one possibility was that the captain was a prisoner or a hostage, but this suggests that the captain may have been in on the conspiracy.
I was afraid of that.
Or is under a charm spell. Doesn't seem to be an honorable prisoner at this point.
I'd like to go and just sort of investigate inside of this building. I think we need to take a look and see maybe what they were up to. Like, was this a stopping point that they just camped for the night and then left, or were they retrieving something or doing something in here?
Yep, you enter the cabin. There's no one in there. It appears to be kind of halfway ransacked. A couple of chairs are turned over, you know, some stuff pulled down from the shelves and stuff, some food strewn across. The bed, you know, is kind of halfway cocked and turned. As you approach the table, though, the table's still standing up. You notice what appears to be a sword scabbard, a leather sword scabbard lay on top of the table. There's no sword in it, though.
I'm going to take the scabbard, though, and just put it in my pack.
As soon as you touch it, roll me a d6.
6.
Yeah, nothing. It just, you get nothing as you grab it, and it just seems like a normal scabbard for a long sword.
There's a tell. I'm thinking does it have any insignia on it or something where I might infer that it belonged to the captain, or not sure?
No, in fact, when you look at it, inspect it closer, it looks like a handmade. It looks like it would belong to some trapper or hunter. I mean, it's nothing, anything that stands out about it at all.
Well, I'm just going to hang on to it. Is there anything? So it's been ransacked, sort of food's all over the floor and cabinets are open and things overturned, but does there appear to be any rhyme or reason, like that somebody was either looking for something and any indication of anything may have been found, or does something look like it's missing? Does something seem noticeably missing?
Yeah. Are there any compartments that have been left open, or drawers that have been, that would otherwise have been concealed that may be ajar?
Yeah, Boxer, I'm going to start with you. Roll me your wisdom. Roll 3d6 against your wisdom, and you need to equal to your wisdom score or below.
I got 6, 3, 2. So I got 11 against my wisdom, which is 14.
Yeah, so you pass. Maybe from prior things you've done in your job and stuff, and things you've seen, you would definitely think by the look of this that whoever come in here was looking for something. Definitely by the way it's strewn across and thrown and went through. Somebody was looking for something in particular.
Yeah, it seems like
so perhaps they were looking for the.
Yeah, it seems like they either got fed up with the search and left, or they searched hard enough to find what they wanted and then left with whatever it was. But they were here for something.
I think it was whatever's in that scabbard.
You think they wanted the sword?
Yep. I'm sure of it.
Or at least it's somehow connected, right?
Yeah, and in fact, as maybe all four of you enter the cabin, everybody roll a d6. If you get a 1 or 2, let me know.
I got a 2.
Got a 2.
All right, perfect. Everybody that got a 2, you notice a area of the cabin kind of in the corner where it appears one of the floorboards, the wooden floorboards, had been pried up and tried to put back down, but you can tell how it's still sticking up. It catches your eye.
I'll head over and kind of rip it up, see if there's anything in there.
Yeah, when you rip it up, you look inside under the floor, and you can see a compartment that has been cut out about the length of a longsword, and you see nothing down there.
I think they found what they were looking for.
Let's continue.
So that compartment is empty, but is there any residue, or does it look like any kind of handprints or anything might have been left in there? Or it's
No, you don't see any signs really of anything like that. But you can tell definitely that the compartment's empty. That whatever if anything was in here is definitely gone.
Yeah. So then I agree. Like they got what they came for. It was probably in that spot.
It was probably in that scabbard.
It could have been. I'm gonna hang on to the scabbard just in case.
Can I inspect the scabbard just one more time?
I pull out a peach though and take a bite.
The scabbard itself is just a very plain handmade scabbard. I mean, it's nothing that ornate about it or anything. It's probably you would think by looking at it, it was handmade by a hunter or a trapper or something.
Fair enough. All right, onward.
All right.
They're getting away.
I'm hanging on to the scabbard, Angus, just in case it's connected to this whole conspiracy.
Just in
so
case.
you know.
It's evidence.
Well, I wouldn't want to leave it behind. I take another bite of my peach and follow the rest of you out.
Yes, absolutely. And if there's additional evidence, we can we should bring it along as well. But until that time, the scabbard is enough.
Okay. So let's follow the tracks. Is there still blood dripping along the tracks? Or
There is, but it is lessened quite a bit. I mean, there's enough that you know, like I say, it's lessened that you would think either the wound has somehow been staunched or banded somehow, but there's still a few drops coming down next to the tracks of the giant.
Okay.
You follow the trail. Is a mid-morning. It gets quite a bit colder as you continue up into the mountains. As you continue in the cold, there's no snow coming down at this point, but it's getting cold. Maybe as you pull your blankets or your clothing around you even more. You follow the tracks all that day. You don't encounter or see anybody else or anything. There's a light fog that you see up and higher in the mountains as you're heading that way, you know, and you would know it appears to be just a natural light fog coming. It's nothing like was described that encapsulated the fort at all. But you travel up to that late afternoon up in the mountains, and you know it's probably roughly an hour and a half before it's going to get dark again.
Before it gets to a point in the day where the temperature would start to drop more, is there like a high tree or something like that I could scale and maybe look above that kind of fog rim and see if I can notice anything unusual up ahead, or scout the area a little bit just from a vantage point?
There are no trees actually high, especially tall trees in this area. Most of it's shrubs and stuff. You maybe could think that you could try to get on maybe some higher rock outcropping, maybe if you wanted to try to climb up there and get a viewpoint.
Yeah, I just want to like, so it gets dark, and while the fog is still relatively light, I'd like to see if there's some vantage point where I can get a, you know, look ahead, kind of see if we can determine anything else about where we may be headed or what lies in the direction of the tracks. Do I find some kind of outcropping or?
Yeah, you can definitely find you some kind of rock to skim you up, and you know, if you take your time, you know, it's fine. You can get up there safely. You know, you've done it before. You know how to do it, and what you observe is just you see probably what you would think on further end of the mountains. You know, not close to y'all. Maybe it's coming that way, but it appears probably it is snowing. Probably some type of storm. Everything looks natural though from that point, but you can tell there's probably some snowstorm on into the mountains itself.
I don't see a witch, do I?
Not yet.
It's never that easy.
Huh.
Look, you see a witch. Okay, so it looks fairly normal, like from this vantage point, but the snow's coming in that area.
In fact, if you saw one, we would have to be suspicious that that wasn't the actual winter witch.
It never is.
Yeah.
But there are no structures, there's no caves, there's no indication of something that people would be moving, or people and or inverted halflings would be moving toward.
No, you don't find or you don't know of any actual structures on up into the mountains this high. You've never heard of any, you know, unless it's the dwarves, you know, further up have something, but you know there's nothing that belongs to the fort or erected by the fort up this high.
And the giants don't build?
You would know that from what you've been told that they have a village somewhere, but you've never actually seen it or anyone's ever been there. If they have, they've never returned alive, but you know they have some kind of everybody jokes about the hidden village of the giants.
I take that as more evidence of the inverted hobbit theory that seems to be quite popular. A lot of people are
Quite
talking
popular.
about it. A lot of people. Do we have any choice but to continue following these tracks?
I'm more than happy to do that. Yeah.
We've got an hour and a half left of daylight.
Yeah, you would think maybe by the time Davin has climbed in and taken his peek at the storm, you would think you probably have about an hour left now, roughly, until it's going to be getting dark, that you need to find probably some type of shelter or build a shelter.
And we got to walk right into the storm.
Davin would probably told you if that storm continues your direction from what he could tell, he would probably tell you it's probably going to come through y'all sometime that night, during the night.
Yeah, so it's going to head over us either way. We may as well make some headway into the direction that we need to, and then just weather down.
Bunker down. Yeah.
Yep.
I share the picture that I drew from the outcropping on my parchment, so everybody can see where we're headed. Let's trudge on. I think we should head in this direction and make as much traction as we can.
I'm down.
Can we close the distance up a little bit? I mean, it's an hour and a half, maybe like pick up the pace a little bit. See if we can get
Well, if
further
you
along.
guys can keep up with me.
Well, if we're going through deep snow, let me first put on my thigh boots.
Yeah, I'm going to take off my sandals at this point and put my boots back on because my feet are cold. And I take the last bite of my peach and drop the pit.
I pick up the pit and I throw it far off the trail and warn him about leaving evidence. We're collecting evidence, not leaving it.
Fair enough.
Speaking of which, I applaud your efforts to maintain a visual of our history. It may be useful later when when we need to describe this to the authorities.
Just trying to keep a record.
Exactly.
I kind of take my blue bandana and slide it up around my head to kind of get my hair back a little bit and trudge on.
Yep, you trudge on, heading. Are y'all wanting to maybe try to find another cave entrance, or are you going to try to build a temporary shelter there on the ground itself for the night?
Cave is number one choice.
Yeah, I like cave. If it can be found.
Yep, and you definitely see Grips, has got his eye on it for sure, looking for some warm place to build a place. And Grips, you see what appears to be a cave entrance as your group moves towards it, and you can feel the cold now as it's coming and the wind's picking up some.
I'm going to all right, I'll go with the 120 watt soft white again.
Nice.
As you four approach the cave entrance, Boxer, roll me a d6.
Okay. 4.
You are walking along as you're making your way, and you kind of stumble on something there in the ground and the snow itself. As you look down, you see what appears to be a bronze and made tube, but it probably appears to be the length of what you would think would hold parchment or a scroll or something that you've kicked up out of the snow.
Perfect. It's been left here to store your illustrations.
This is perfect. I need a bronze tube. So I just I reach down and I pick it up and I look into it. Does it have a cap on either end of it? Something I can unscrew or pull off?
Yep, it does. When you pick it up, there's 2 end caps. They're bronze also, and each end cap appears to be 3 gems that are set into 3 on each end cap, so 6 total. And you would think these gems would be a little valuable. You're able to unscrew it, end cap, and look inside. It's empty.
It's empty. But were there? Was this just lying here, sort of under the snow? Can I?
Yeah, you kind of kicked it up out of the snow, correct?
Okay. But because there's snow covering around there, I can't tell if there's any tracks around this. Like, did it look like it was kind of stuffed partially in the dirt, like it's been there for a while, or?
Yeah, you would think it's probably been there for a little while. It appears to be a little tarnished. I mean, you would probably think it's not recent.
Okay. I'll take that and put it in my pack.
Yeah, and you would think each gem on it is probably worth about 25 gold each. You know, if you were to take them and pry them and find a good buyer somewhere.
Just baubles. What's important is whether it's watertight and can preserve our evidence.
Yeah, it looks like it has a pretty decent seal on it there. I'll take my parchment out and kind of stuff it, scroll it up, and put it in there. It just seems like a pretty good case. But if the time comes that I need to sell it, then I'll consider that. I hope it's not cursed.
Yeah, you put your parchment in there, and as you do, roll me a d6.
Like I said, I hope it's not cursed. I got a 4.
A 4? Your hand tingles for just a moment, you know, and it feels a little heavier now that you've put the cap back on it and your parchment's in there. It feels like it's quite a bit heavier.
My hand feels heavier, or the object feels heavier?
The actual tube itself feels heavier.
May I inspect that?
Pardon me?
I noticed your reaction as you were putting the parchment in.
Yeah, I kind of touch it again and sort of feel it again to see if it increases the effect, or that I sense anything any further, or if it's kind of waned. And I look at you and say, it felt like it got heavy or something.
That's probably because you've triggered its response. You should reopen it and see what now is contained within.
Well, I put my parchment in there. Let me open it back up. So I open it back up and look
it's
inside.
A latent case, and I described to him latent cases. Latent cases are frequently used by investigators.
You open it back up. Your parchment is gone. In place of it, you see a dark brown glass bottle in there that's about the size of a potion bottle. And you see this milky liquid that is inside of this bottle.
Does it have a cork on it or something?
It does. It is stoppered.
Okay. I pull the cork and kind of like fan the top to see if I can smell anything off of it.
It's a real light smell, and it's like I say, the liquid is kind of milky looking inside of it, and it's just a light, airy smell to it.
Would I recognize this liquid at all, or the smell?
You can make me intelligence check, but it'd be 4d6, and you would need roll 4d6, and you need your intelligence or below.
May I look at it as well?
Yep, after he does, you sure can.
Also 4 for me?
No, for the magic user, you can do 3d6 against intelligence.
So I rolled 7 against my intelligence is 10.
I've rolled 7 under.
Yeah, both of y'all maybe at the same time as you're looking at it. You know that this is not something that's not common. You would think that after you drink it, that it does something to give you like almost brave. It makes you brave, and
liquid courage.
Yeah, kind of like a liquid courage itself as you drink this liquid. But you
that's not bad.
I will put the effects here for everybody to see, whoever uses it.
I have something in my game that I call Crimson Taurus, aka Red Bull, that we have as a common drink. Cool. So, all right, I'm going to keep the cap on it, and so I might need to save that for a later time. Maybe when I need a little extra hair on my chest.
Yep, and it basically, whoever consumes it, after you consume it, it will give you a +1 to hit and damage rolls for D6 rounds. So whoever consumes it, that will be the mechanics of it per se.
I'd like to pass over a piece of parchment paper that I have myself, and could you maybe
So I'll
roll
slip
it up?
Yeah, I'll slip it in and like close it and reopen it.
Yeah, you
Maybe.
put the parchment in there. You know, it's light. You know, from being a piece of paper. You screw the cap back on. All of a sudden, it gets heavy again. You feel that slight tingle on your hand as you're holding it. And as you open it back up, you are going to see another bottle in there. This bottle is kind of green, though the glass is green. And
I feel like
as you open it, the color of this liquid is very green, like a dark green, and has like almost an oily, stout smell to it.
What do we know about this? Is it Listerine?
Yep, 46 boxer against intelligence and grips 3d6.
All right. Yeah, I'm 10 under or 9 under.
All right.
I got one. I got one over. So I rolled
One
a
over,
11.
okay. Yeah, you're looking at a boxer about this, maybe the same time Grips goes, don't drink that. Grips, you know that this is some kind of potion that would do something very detrimental and damaging to someone.
Well, we see what happens if you put paper in it. Here, put this in it and see what happens. And he hands you some dried pork.
Dried pork. I feel like we're pulling something from another dimension. Like every time we get a goodie, some baby is being murdered or something. I'll give it a shot.
Boxer. I can see that you're ready to understand the deeper motivations of beings the world over.
Okay, I'll drop a little bit. Was it dried pork? Is that what it was?
Yeah, dried pork I have.
Okay, so I'll put some of that in there and close it off.
Yep, you put the dried pork, and screw the end cap back on. The weight from it, nothing happens. There's no tingle in your hand.
When I open it up and just examine, see if there's anything different inside or if the pork's in there.
Exact same piece of dried pork and same weight, appearance, and all of that.
Okay, so I pour it out into my hand, and I like, you mind if I just eat this? I don't want it to go to waste.
Have at it, my friend.
So I go ahead and down it. I'm just kind of annoyed that I've lost all of my parchment. I'm happy that we got some stuff, but I've lost my drawings.
Why don't we put the poison back in and see if we can get our drawings back? That's important evidence, and the future generation may need that exact perspective to be able to track this.
But do you think the poison might be useful for us? I mean, we don't really have anything else that's like poison with us.
Well,
I think the poison might be. I think the poison might be pretty helpful. Trick somebody into thinking that it does something good if we have to.
We could coat one of our weapons with it.
Well, we can always exchange the pork for it in the future, or perhaps it's only paper that can be exchanged.
I feel like it's getting a little bit late, and if we're going to hunker down, we better go ahead and set up our camp at this point.
Well, the good news is we're well lit, but
we're well lit. I wasn't drinking. Are you drinking? Oh, speaking of which, I have a copper flask of grog. Anybody want to nip before we go to bed?
Balder pulls out a flask of his own. How about you have a little bit of this?
I've got 3 copper flasks, but they're all water. I filled them myself, not trusting any of those vintners brewers to.
Certainly not.
So we'll do the same watch we did last night and just keep it moving.
Yeah, let's
Sounds
do
good.
the same watch.
I'll take the first watch.
Yep, y'all set up the same watch. Cured, you set up your watch. You start seeing some snow flurries come in. They're light, you know, kind of like the first night, but it's getting cold, a whole lot colder than it was the night before. Nothing happens. You get Boxer up. Boxer, during your watch, the snow starts picking up a little bit more, and it is very cold. I mean, it is. I mean, you even with the fire that you've got built and you're stoking the fire, you know, it's very cold. You get Grips up. Grips on your watch, as you know, you're sitting there, maybe studying your manuals or thinking about this brass scroll tube, map case, whatever you want to call it. Roll me a d6.
I roll a d6.
On the tube, pick up my d6, and I get a 6.
You got a 6. Let's see what kind of trouble or friendship that will bring you. You hear some noise off in the distance, even though the snow is blowing, you know, you hear that. But you hear like a...
I get out Zoom, and I zoom.
Yep, you get out Zoom, and in the distance, you think it's probably traveling on the wind is the way you heard what sounded like some type of drums. You see further away, not close to the cave, but you see what appears to be a line of, you would think there's more than 12, between 12 and 24 of these snow orcs that are traveling in a line along a ridge on the mountain, you know, and there are some of them's these drums as they're moving along, but they're not coming your direction.
Can I see what direction they came, or can I estimate sort of what direction they came from?
Yeah, you can see that they came from further. You're pretty much traveling like north into the mountains where you're going. And you can tell they probably come from the western side of the mountains, and they're traveling west to east, it would appear, on this trail.
So it's possible but highly unlikely that their movements have nothing to do with us. But it is.
Yeah, you would think that you know that they have no idea. They have no idea where you're at. I mean, they're not close enough to sense you at all right now.
Or if they sensed us, they have the sense not to reveal that they know where we are.
Exactly. But you got to remember you're dealing with snow orcs, so.
Right. But it's entirely possible the snow orcs have us right where they want us, and by having us think them simpletons. That said, if they are not approaching us, I will track them for a few more minutes, and until I can be sure that they're not presenting a risk to us. If they begin to move toward us, I'll begin by alerting other folks. But I'm not going to disturb people's important dream sequences that can be very revealing. So I'll only awake them if the orcs become a risk.
Yep, exactly. And you're able to keep eye on them, and you can definitely tell that they've not changed course coming your direction, that they're continuing this west to east passage on this trail. And with enough time, you can tell they're starting to get out of that area as the fade of the drums or whatever, as they're fading, and they're continuing east away from you.
And they're not heading toward the fort?
Nope, they are not.
I guess that would be another important consideration. All right, we'll just let it go then.
Yep, and the rest of your watch goes by as you wake Baldur up. Would you share that information with him as you wake him at that time, or?
I do indeed. I tell him to be particularly vigilant in the direction to which I saw them disappear.
All right. Baldur, you sit vigilant the rest of the night, and nothing else happens. The snow is steadily falling, and you get the shivers of the cold and stuff, but nothing else happens. You don't hear the band of snow orcs at all. I mean, they're gone way out of your earshot range.
What a mountain range. More happens at night than during the day.
But yeah, nothing else happens. Is the next morning is everybody's awaking. You make your preparations, and yeah, let's take us about a 5-minute bio break, or if you need a few more minutes longer than that, let's take us a bio break. Get water, drinks, whatever, food. It's cold, so you might get a blanket. Go get your orange blanket, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
All right.
You guys. So Tony, how is it that you link up Zoom to YouTube? I see this this little.
Oh yeah. I actually, when I signed up for Zoom, they sent me a offer back in December for like I could get 3 months, I think, at like half price for their subscription. So me and Daniel, that guy I was talking about earlier, we have both thought, well, you know, let's try it and see. And where I live, I have very low bandwidth. Where I live, my internet is horrible. So I thought, well, you know, I can't use one of these third-party programs to link it to YouTube. Well, I got to researching on Zoom on their deal, and I found out there's actually, I don't remember how I did it now, but there's actually a deal where you can link your YouTube channel straight to Zoom. And all you do is like on the bottom of my screen, I have a deal where it says more with the 3 dots. When I click that, it opens up YouTube, stream to YouTube. And I just click that, and it pops up the window, you know, and you click on your YouTube, your Google account, which one you want to send it to. And when you click that, it brings open the screen, you know, and you can type in your title, and if you want to make it public or private in the moment, and you just click one button and it sends it straight to your YouTube channel.
Oh, no kidding. That's pretty
simple. So pretty simple and easy. I was happy that you can do it that way because, you know, our first thought was you were going to have to use like some third party OBS or something to, you know, do it. But yeah, I've been very happy with Zoom so far. It's served me very well, especially with my low bandwidth.
And so, do you record all your games, or what?
Yeah, I do. I do record them all. And mostly just for me, really. For me, like, you know, if I want to go back, if there's something, most everything I do is one shots. I'm started a Labyrinth Lord kind of mini campaign that we're starting to do, but most everything I do is one shots. But sometimes I want to go back, you know, if they want to bring those characters back, or for another one or something. If I need to go back and think, well, man, I didn't make a good note on this. I need to remember what this was about. So I mainly do it for myself, but anybody else that wants to watch or listen to, they're more than happy to also, of course. Huh.
Okay.
It's good free storage. And if you get some views, then even better.
Exactly.
Did the GaryCon folks distribute this little like kind of background that they wanted GMs to use for their games?
No, I actually just downloaded that myself, and I thought, well, I'll use it for the game I'm running. I thought I'll just use that.
Yeah, cool.
Crystal, are you back?
You're not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I never left.
Okay, good enough. Well, we are all back as y'all awaken to you know, that wonderful breakfast that Balder is cooking that morning.
Yeah, he's cooking up some. Let's see what I got here. Some dried beef and cheese. He's cut off a little cheese from the big wheel of cheese he has, and yeah, he does have some beef and cheese.
I'll add some. I'll add a head of lettuce to that for some roughage.
Beef, cheese, and lettuce, known as the breakfast of champions in my home.
Yes.
Anybody want to make sandwiches? I have a loaf of bread.
Now you can't get ahead of ourselves. That's lunch.
I figure we could go ahead and prep lunch and just pack it. We don't have to stop, really. We can just.
You all know
I'll save the bread.
that morning is you're awakened and, you know, having it is extreme cold. It is colder than any cold you've ever been. In fact, it's cold enough everybody needs to make a saving throw for me.
Oof. 19 over.
I'll take a D20 then.
Yep, straight D20, no modifiers. And you would need equal to or over the save.
I did it by 1.
That would be a 1 here.
Oh, man.
I can't even miss well.
Oh man, Grips, you're bad. You're so bad cold you will lose 2 points of your Constitution. So whatever your Constitution score is, lower it by 2 points, as it is the worst cold you've ever been through. Anybody that fails will lose 2 points to their Constitution.
All
If that
right.
takes your Constitution to 6 or lower, you need to make a note your modifier will be at -1 if you have to make any Constitution checks later.
Takes it to 9.
All right, you're still good.
Well, no, I'm not good because Constitution was something I really prided myself on. And, this is the evidence of the desperation of the Winter Witch that she would be singling me out here.
Well, here, take a little bit of what's in this flask here. Maybe it'll help.
I ask a little bit about the provenance of what's in the flask, and
That's good.
let's see if I'm satisfied. I'll stick with water, thank you.
Very well.
Is
You definitely don't get the oily smell from what Balder just offered you.
That is an improvement over some flasks that are floating around. Well,
I'm wishing I had my orange blanket, but I just instead go ahead and take another nip of my grog and say, well, we better trudge on then.
why don't we just trudge on tomorrow? Seems like today we should prioritize warming up.
I think if it has no other negative effect, perhaps like moving around and getting some fresh air in our lungs will help us feel better. I don't know, unless you have a fever. Like I read somewhere that unless you have a fever.
Seems very
Dry
suspicious,
Dry cough.
I grudgingly allow myself to be convinced that it's time to go.
Any special preparations anybody wants to make out as you start up that morning on the third morning of this cold, awful morning?
I'm just gonna draw my brown cloak a little tighter and pull the hood over a little bit. Maybe yeah, I have about 50 feet of twine, so I want to like just kind of like loop around like anything that might be open and just kind of keep the wind out of that.
All right.
The only thing I do to prepare is I take my bandana and I tie it just above my knee, sort of like rocker style, and I do happen to have quite a wardrobe in this pack, so I'm going to switch to my black shirt, and then put my leather armor over that, and then the cape back over that.
That sounds good to me.
I'm not going to wear the sandals today, though.
No, you definitely don't want to wear it. You'd be frostbitten for sure.
No way.
Got, so the blankets that we stocked up on back in the fort, I have taken one and over the cloak that I was already wearing, I make a poncho out of it, so my hands stick out, and I find something that I can wrap into my boots so that my toes don't finish falling off. I see one that I'm already going to have to lose. I don't need to lose any more.
Sounds good. Y'all progress that morning. The snow has let up some. It's still coming down, but the cold itself seems to like even get colder than it was as you maneuver on up for a couple of hours into the mountains. The tracks of the giant, they're still very faint. I mean, they're enough that you can follow it without losing them, but the human tracks that's following alongside have been pretty much covered up. But the giant tracks, with his heavy impressions going into the ground, you can still follow them enough up into the mountain range. And you travel up to probably, mid to late morning, we'll say about 11 a.m. And you see smoke coming up from over a ridge line into the mountains. You see smoke that is coming up
All I can think of is fire, warmth.
All I can think of is danger.
The testament to how cold I am that that's not my first thought.
I feel, other than the cold that I have, I feel like I'm at full health and ready to confront whatever danger lies ahead. We're gonna have to find the captain, if that's who we're there to find, or confront whatever evil lies ahead, even if it means a snow witch.
I agree.
I tell these guys everything there is to know about winter witches, and that takes pretty much a couple hours. So that's one way to pass the time.
So we forge ahead with you talking our ear off about winter witches.
I emphasize how important it is because they're probably going to take me out first. So you guys need to use this knowledge.
You progress into a little steeper part of the mountains as Grips, informs and instructs you with the class that you missed on winter witches. You progress on further in though, and the smoke starts wafting over your way, and you definitely get the smell from it, the scent of it, that this is some type of wood smoke, probably from some type of fire that has been set with wood.
I find that definitive evidence that the captain's in on it because it doesn't smell like human flesh.
So it's a recent camp. It's still smoldering.
Well, you actually don't have a visual on it, but as you're moving on in closer, you actually start the smoke, starting to wafer over your way as you're definitely picking up the smell. But there's probably a current fire going somewhere that's just ahead of you.
Okay, so just trickling through the woods. It's not like a forest fire. It's just
it's definitely a built fire, probably coming from a campfire or a house fire.
Guys, I think we need to kind of like move as quietly as we can so we can get a vantage point on whatever lies ahead before just storming in there.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I'm really torn between the urge to run toward a potential fire and the urge to check it out thoroughly. So I get out Zoom again. I let Zoom do our check-in.
You get out Zoom, and as soon as you get out Zoom, it's kind of cloudy and murky for just a moment as you start looking into the crystal ball that you have, and then it starts clearing out to where you can see, and as it goes and you can see it traveling the direction you're going and goes into this clearing, the first thing you see is what appears to be a small cabin, and you see the chimney smoke coming up kind of in this area that seems to be a little hidden, but it's definitely a small cabin, not a giant sized cabin. But you do see three things outside of this cabin. You see this giant, this mountain giant that is sitting down out 20, 30 feet away from the cabin as he's looking down at the ground, and you can see the wrapped up leg where he's been injured with some of the blood that is through the bandages on his leg. Next to the cabin, you see two figures. You see this woman, very beautiful, very attractive, charismatic woman, standing there with almost shimmering and shining in what you would think would be a light blue robes or something, as she's standing there holding this long sword. And next to her is this wooden cage, this 10 by 10 cage. And you look inside the cage, you see the captain kind of battered and beaten down as he's sitting inside of this cage next to her. Then she turns and looks almost the direction of where you're looking as you see her eyes look at you and your crystal ball goes black.
So I report that this is bad news for Captain Davis. It looks like his superior seems to still be intact, and perhaps his allegiance is not confirmed as being on the far side. That said, the Winter Witch seems to be in control and has caged him and now knows that we're here. That said, she didn't look as powerful as some Winter Witches I have seen in the past, and some of the ones that I've told you about. Nevertheless, she looked like she was advanced, shall we say. Oh yes, and she had a kick-ass sword.
Does it look like she has a scabbard for her sword?
It looked like she had to carry it bare-bladed. Maybe she'll be grateful for us for having brought her scabbard.
Have they noticed us? Or we're seeing this through Zoom, or you are?
Yeah. Grip sees it through, and you definitely know that she noticed something as she turned and looked towards that area, and then everything went black. So by what Grips has told you, you definitely know she senses something at that point.
She knew a thing or two about the off button. Leave meeting.
I was just going to say that.
Leave meeting button. She put on her privacy screen.
Yeah. How far away does it seem like we are time-wise from this camp?
You would think distance-wise, from maybe what Grips relays from seeing through the crystal ball, that, maybe in 10 minutes, y'all would probably be there on foot as you're trudging away in, and maybe it's a more 10-minute walk from where you're at.
Okay.
That said, I also point out and spend some time detailing the cabin and how warm it looked, and how she must be trying to keep us out of there because she knows that it would be really comfortable inside for us.
Yeah, so she's trying to keep all the comfort for herself. Is what that's her whole goal.
That's something they're known for, as I've explained to you. Spreading suffering.
What do you think?
Guys want to?
Yeah, should we go on ahead, or should we formulate a plan to kind of maybe encircle the area and kind of move in? Or
I'm not very good at going undetected, but I'm willing to try.
We could split a little bit to kind of create some diversion and, appear like a smaller group of trackers where we actually have more of us off to one side in preparation for anything that goes awry. In other words, make her notice maybe one instead of four of us.
Right.
I don't know, not to single anyone out, but could be a decent strategy.
Yeah.
Not coming up.
I could go. Yeah, I could go in as a decoy.
Make a lot of noise.
Just kind of whatever. Cause some revelry. My god is the god of revelry anyway, so could possibly be well met.
The god of revelry. You might want to try using my lute.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe she would be unsuspecting if she thought that you were a traveling minstrel or something.
Just going to my next gig in the highest heights of this mountain.
Right.
You were escaping from the snow orcs who had captured you because of your strains were exactly to their liking.
Yeah, is there maybe a popular minstrel in the area that we could dress you up as or something? Maybe she might think you're someone popular.
Yeah, who are the kids listening to?
What the cool kids this high in the mountains jamming out to?
So Tony, just to double check, are each of these spells one use over the course of the day? So I have an invisibility, and that's going to be one use.
Yeah, let's see. Let me look real quick. You
So
have
level
the
2.
magic user at 5th level. You have 4 uses of 1st level spells, so you can use 4 slots, we'll say, of 1st level, 2 slots of 2nd level, and 1 slot of a 3rd level spell. So yep, it would be like 1 use and it's gone for the day.
And invisibility is just good for one person, presumably.
Yep, this one is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I saw that. There's like a mass invisibility or something like that. That's
Right, I believe so.
higher level.
Yeah, I'll tune up the loot. But possibly before I go out, I should cast Bless onto Balder. Maybe it lasts for about an hour, and it gives like a +1 to attacks. Just in case something goes wrong.
I can always come in at the last moment and save your sorry hides.
Exactly. Yeah. So I cast Bless on Balder.
Yep, that's perfect. You can do that.
So you get a +1 to your attacks. Yeah, I'll tune up the loot, and I'll
Should
take
we
the front
circle
door.
coming from a different direction then, so that we're.
Yeah,
so
I'll
that
take the front door. You take the back door. Actually, what if Balder and I, like Balder kind of behind me, kind of approach from the front, and then you guys can sneakily get in and possibly get the captain out.
Yeah.
You know,
Try a stealth retrieval. Like create a diversion and then slide in and get the captain out.
yeah, because it doesn't seem like doesn't seem like he's involved in this conspiracy, whatever it may be.
Remember, the greatest weakness of winter witches is their arrogance and self-assurance. So she won't be suspecting a group as forward-thinking and as knowledgeable about her wily ways.
Yes.
I'm glad that I've acquired such knowledge.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, if I go out as bait, keeping Boulder close by me, and then you guys can sneak in and check out from your side.
Yep.
That's an excellent plan. Nothing could go wrong.
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
I roll up my red cape to kind of just hide it a little bit, to make myself a little bit less visible at this point.
Yeah, before setting out, I want to don my feathered hat, my brown feathered hat, and make sure the loot's all tuned up nice.
I go up and I break the feather on his cap and remind him that no orc would allow you to keep an unbroken feathered cap like that.
This is true, especially the snow orcs. I can't believe I forgot that.
It's easy to overlook. You were so happy to have escaped.
All right, here, do you want to try to approach and go straight into the confront or talk to the witch?
It's not that I want to like walk in. I just want to be kind of walking along and just kind of casually notice them. You know, just be like, oh, hey, what's going on?
Right.
Well, you were attracted. Remember, there's smoke here. You could be attracted by the smoke.
Absolutely, I need a warm place.
The other 3 of you are going to stay in the group, and you want to approach maybe around the side of where the cage is with the captain in it and the witch.
Just the 2 of us.
Yeah, it's just the other 2 of us.
All right.
Well, Balder, I guess, is like close by, but like not trying to be seen. Or are you guys walking together?
Maybe if he just like stays in between the two parties.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Wherever you guys want me, that's where I'll be.
All right, so Balder, you're going to stay close enough that if something does happen, that you can rush on in.
Yeah, and then so what? Angus and I are
Yeah,
gonna
pretty much.
go around from the side.
All right, sounds good. We'll start with you, Hurd, as you strumming your lute and walking in, and you see the same thing that was described by Grips. The cabin, the small cabin. You see the giant sitting off to the side, nursing his wounds. You see this female that is talking to the captain in the cage.
I like knowing what I'm getting into. I walk in, but feign like I don't know what. I'm just like, whoa! I'm showing them how taken aback I am by their sheer presence. And I say, excuse me. I came to seek fire and warmth. I think I may be at the wrong place. And I kind of slowly move like I'm leaving, but I don't want to leave.
All right, you're doing that. The giant looks up towards you and grunts out something. The beautiful lady, we're calling her a witch, but she's a beautiful lady. She turns and
Don't
looks
be
towards
fooled.
you.
Don't be fooled.
She turns and looks towards you. Boxer, roll me your d6 for thievery. I believe you should probably have a 3 and 6. So you need a 1, 2, or 3. Let me know.
Sorry, it says for thievery 3 of 6.
Yep. So roll a d6, and if you get a 1, 2, or 3, or just whatever you get, let me know.
I got a 1.
All right. You're pretty confident you're moving in without being noticed at this point, you and Grips. Hurd, you say that, and the giant looks up and grunts at you. This beautiful woman looks towards you, and she goes, "There's only one thing that happens to anyone who trespasses on my land. That is death." Hurd, roll initiative. It'll be D6, and if you got a dex mod.
Okay. I got a 5.
All right. I'm going to put you down at a 5. Ooh. Okay. You see the giant stand up, and you see her look over towards the giant as he takes off running towards you, Hurd, with his huge club. He's kind of stumbling along, not moving his full gait. So he's running towards you. He's not going to be able to get to you in time. And we are up to you then. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm going to drop the loot, draw my mace.
Luckily, it's
And
snow
attack.
covered, right? So the loot's fine when it lands.
And attack the giant.
Yeah, you want to move forward and engage the giant? Sure, you can do that with your mace.
I got 14.
And you had all your bonuses?
I did to hit bonus and my +1 for my mace.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that you come close to him, and maybe at the last moment, he moves just enough that you barely miss him as he steps to the side, just barely out of the way. We're up to our beautiful woman at this point. She is going to look to you as you're running towards her protector, and she goes, "I told you, death only comes to those who enter." And you see her hold her hand out towards you, Hurd, and you see her hand start turning blue, like ice blue. And you see this almost like an icicle shoot straight out towards you. And it's coming straight towards you. And as it does, it is going to strike into you, and you'll take 6 points of damage as this bolt of ice just streaks right into your armor and pierces into you. What we'll do is everybody else can roll initiative. I'll put you in and we'll go from that. So Balder, what did you roll? D6 and Dex if you got it.
3.
Balder on a 3. And what about Boxer?
4.
Boxer on a 4. And what about Grips?
Grips on a 2.
All right. We will start back on the second round as we go back to the giant then, as he had a 6. He's going to try to swing his big club towards our cleric. He doesn't like you being there, of course, evidently. Oh no, he's going to hit you cured for 4 more points of damage with this huge club.
Heward, I knew you shouldn't have been playing country on that lute. No one
I
likes
can't.
And as he does that, we're down to you, Heward, on a 5.
I'm sorry. Oh, for me.
Yep, up to you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, taking those blows, like I get frozen, I get smashed by this giant, and I'm just gonna up and pummel him with my mace. So that is not a hit. It's an 11 to hit.
Oh no, yeah. You're kind of shaken up enough even more now that you didn't expect him being injured the way he is, but yeah, you definitely miss him.
Yeah.
Boxer, you see all this going on as you're making your way, you think very stealthily towards the captain's cage. What would you like to do?
Well, the first thing I want to do, because I'm shocked at how this whole situation is spiraling downward quite quickly, is I pop the cork on this blue fluid and just dose it really quick. Can I do anything else on my turn?
I warned him that he doesn't know where that's been.
I lick my lips though, and it's like, oh, but it's sweet and so good.
Yep, you're going to use the one that mechanically gave you the +1 to hit and damage.
Yeah.
Yep, roll a
That's
d6.
D6 for how many rounds?
Yep, roll a d6. You can do it yourself and just keep up with it, however many. Okay, great. Yep, keep up with that. You can dose that real quick, and I'll let you if you want to do something else. If you want to take more movement or if you want to do something else, sure.
Am I within throwing range of our queen witch hag woman?
Are you within what range? You broke up at first for me.
Am I within throwing range? I was going to throw a dagger at her.
Yeah, it will be just no modifier as far as with the dagger. I mean, whatever modifiers you got to hit, but no other modifiers. She's kind of at long range to you, but you can definitely throw it.
So not the bonus from.
You know, you can use the actual bonuses you got, but you don't get any extra bonuses for distance or anything.
So roll what, D20 to hit?
Yep, D20 and whatever your bonuses are that you have there.
20.
You rolled a nat 20?
20, well done.
Hey, perfect. The way I do nat 20s is you'll do max damage and then roll again. So the max damage will be 5, and then roll again and add.
Okay, then roll again to do the D6 -1. For
Yep,
the
D6 and add that to the 5.
D6 or 6.
Hey, so 5 and 5 is 10. You throw your dagger, perfect hit into the beautiful woman. I don't know why you wouldn't want to attack this beautiful woman, but you do.
She's ice cube at my buddy. But wait, you add the extra 1 for the. Did you do the extra 1 on?
No, on a missile weapon. No, it has to be strength only. So no, it would just be the 5. You know, you wouldn't add the +1.
Okay.
You can add the +1 from the potion, but not the +1 from the other.
+1 from the potion.
I've been explaining to the last 2 hours why you might have to throw a dagger at a beautiful woman. He's and otherwise prepared for it.
She's not my type anyway.
You make a perfect hit into her, so she is definitely going to notice where that come from. But Balder, we are up to you as you've been kind of waiting in the wings to see all this go down.
All right, Balder's been preparing, and hearing all this go down. He has his shield out, and he's placed his spear on his back. And when he was a kid, he remembers hearing, stories of witches and how water would melt them. And so he's taken out of his pack this glass of water that he has. He has a glass jar full of water. And so as he moves in and he sees the witch, he says, "Take this, witch," and he throws the glass jar of water at her.
All right. You can move in
And-
enough and try to throw it at her. Yeah.
Yep. And that's a 19 to hit.
Yep, that will hit the witch.
And I guess I'll just do I roll a 5 on a D6. So whatever you want to do there.
Yeah, it'd be D6 minus 1. So,
All right. So this glass jar like shatters and the water gets all over her. And Balder has a smug look as he expects her to start melting now.
all right.
Well,
we
and does
are we are up to you now, Grips.
well, before Grips does anything, of course, that was a perfectly reasonable thing to expect. Does she begin to melt?
Nothing happens.
Oh, it's not a Jorian type 1 witch. That would have worked great if she'd been a Jorian type 1 witch. Well, it's always trial and error, you know. Well, if water doesn't work, does it look like I could get both she and the giant into a single fireball?
No, you can tell there's enough distance the way the giant has approached here that they're pretty far apart. They're not going to be close enough.
Well, it sucks to have to choose, but I choose her. What do I need to do to? It's probably a Jorian type 4 winter witch, which is susceptible to flame. And given that my flamethrower was left back at the fort, I'll have to use a fireball.
Yep, you can roll. I will make her saving throw as you shoot it towards her. You would know also that there is a slight chance, a very slight chance that Balder may catch some of the effects of it. But he's kind of, out of range, but he may catch a small effect of this, but you can do that.
Well, he'll have to thank me later for providing a little warmth.
Yep, so roll your level 5, so it's 1d6 per level, so roll 5d6 for your damage. Balder, make me a saving throw.
I don't like those words. 17.
All right.
That's 22 damage.
22 damage, okay. The witch actually did not expect that as she failed her saving throw, so she will take 22 points. Balder, you will take 2 points. It's just a little whiff of fire comes by you.
Nice. I like to think like there's like a big flaming rock gets knocked to him, and he just like slams it off with his shield.
Yep, I mean, just that fast and quick. The witch did not expect that, as she is also up on a 2. She is not happy at that at all. Not happy at all.
Was I able to steam the water that had so recently arrived?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. She is going to look over towards where you are, Grips, as you've done this, and you see the pretty face and the pretty body now, but is flamed and torched, and she looks at you and she goes, "You think that you can practice the arts? I think that's probably all that you have in your books. You will not have this." You hear the ground underneath you start rumbling and shaking and breaking apart. As it does, make me a saving throw, Grips.
And this is versus spells?
That's just one single save, just a single save.
I have a +2 versus spells. So,
Yep, you can add your +2.
that would make it an 18.
Yeah, you make the save as the ground starts falling up underneath from you. and you're able to hold on as you fall and slide down 10 feet into this ground pit that has appeared before you, but you're able to somehow hold on and avoid taking any damage from it. But you are 10 feet in the ground right now.
I'd be sure as I'm sliding down to say, I knew you would do that.
We're back to the giant. Really, the only target he has is our cleric there in front of him, as he's going to swing his club again. Whew, he's going to hit you again for 6 points of damage here. Oh, you're muted.
I actually was just lip syncing when I was.
Oh, okay.
I was just moving my lips.
Yep, you're hit again
yeah.
for 6 more points.
All right.
And we're up to you, Heward, as this giant swings into you again.
All right. When casting a spell, does it take, like casting hold person, does that take like a full round to do, or is this something that I've been preparing since the top of the round?
Oh no, if that's what you, yeah, if that's what you want to do this turn, you can do that. You know, that would be your whole action.
I would like to try to hold this giant back. So it says target a single creature who save at -2.
Yep, I'll let you do that. So let me make a save for him. Oh, he fails pretty bad. You're pretty confident that whatever you've done to him, even with his size, he's kind of held in place right now.
Yeah, like kind of holding him aside. I kind of want to wave at the Winter Witch and just be like, I think we got off on the wrong foot. Let's just take it down a notch, shall we?
Boxer, I guess we're up to you then.
Yeah, so is the witch still have my dagger stuck in the side of her head?
It is melted. Your dagger handle and the blade is all melted now as the fire itself has melted it too, but you can see parts of the shards of it hanging into her.
Okay. Is she close enough to where I can just run up toward her at this point?
Yeah, you'll have enough movement. I'm pretty lax about movement. You can get to her.
Okay. So I think she's sort of the worst threat, so I'm just going to continue to sort of attack on her. I mean, she obviously knows like where this dagger came from, but here I'm coming after her with the short sword. So I go in for an attack.
Yep, you can make an attack on her.
I got a 13 plus 1, 14.
She sidesteps you as you charge in, as you run just past her, and she sidesteps as you miss her.
And okay, so I kind of swipe, and I'm like, I knew I should have worn my lucky sandals.
Balder, how about what would you like to do?
Balder grabs the spear from his back, and he's going to move to the gap she made in the ground, and he's going to hold that spear down towards Grips and say, come on, come on, finger wiggler, I'm not going to let you die that easy.
I think I'm all right, actually. I focus on her. Save your spear for her.
So, Balder, you want to try to put the shaft of the spear for him to grab to come up?
Yep, already made my decision.
All right, that's fine. Grips, what do you want to do? It is up to you anyway.
Let's see. I grab hold of the end, and can I spring out and still take an action? Or
you are as you grab the hold of the end of the spear to try to come up, roll me 3d6 on your dex score, and you'll need equal to or under your dex 3d6.
Yeah, odds of that, we'll see. Oh, look at that, a 7. I'm 3 under.
Perfect. You're able to scurry up out of the hole. That's going to take your whole turn, though, as you're able to get out, with Balder helping you. But
I
you are back on ground level now.
I thank him and point to the true enemy. I'm pretty sure that she's a type 4 winter witch.
She
I'm
is
about
going
to make her a type 0.
Well said. Well said.
She is not happy as Boxer runs by her, though. You know, she's not too worried about him. She looks over what you've done, Balder, and she starts cackling in this horrible cackle. And she goes, "Oh, that's even better. Both of you can go underground now. Both of you make me a saving throw again."
Oh, I don't have too many unmissed saves. Yeah, sure enough.
19.
That'd be an 8.
All right, both of you, this ground opens up. You both fall 10 foot down into the ground. Balder, you failed your save as you're falling unexpectedly. You'll take 3 points.
I made my save.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Balder. Grips, you will take 3 points of damage.
I'm the one who failed.
Yep, Grips, you'll take 3 points of damage this time as you weren't expecting it to happen again as you fall and hit the bottom of this pit very hard. Both of you and Balder are 10 foot in the ground right now. And we go back to the giant. Here, you're looking at a giant, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. As he's trying to make a step towards you with his club, he's not moving.
Not letting him. Not letting him.
Yep, he's there. So we're up to you.
I'm gonna take a big swing at him.
Yeah, and I'll give you another plus. In fact, I'll give you another +4. All your bonuses add +4 to that because he's frozen.
So 25.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. What is that? D6?
You're using the mace here. It'd be D6
Yeah.
plus 1. If you got a strength modifier and also the +1 since it's magic.
Yeah, I thump him for like 5.
All right. He doesn't like that. You can see on his face, but there's really not much he can do about it right now. And
Whittle.
Boxer, we are up to you as you've run past the.
Oh, I kind of whiffed it on that last attack. Feeling somewhat frustrated, but also still pretty bouncy and brave from that fluid. I get this crackpot idea. If I could just somehow like run up onto her and jam that poison down her throat, I might have a chance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I pull the vial in preparation to just jam it into her mouth like a dagger.
What we're going to do for that,
we're
going to do for that is as you run up to try to grapple and struggle with her and hold her mouth open, roll me. We'll just do it easy. Roll me a d20. No modifiers.
7.
She had a 10. So she's struggling and fighting with you. You still got, I'm going to say you still have the bottle with it right now, but you're not able to get it down her right now as both you and her are struggling over it.
Okay.
Better that than her casting nasty spells on us.
Yeah, so we're upright. I didn't get her down or anything. We're just
no, y'all both are still, both of y'all still upright, correct.
She sees that I'm clearly trying to get this into her mouth, and she's wondering what the hell I'm doing.
I love it. That's a great image.
Balder, we are up to you as you and your magic friend are 10 feet down in the ground, not knowing what's going on.
Balder is gonna grab Grips by by the back of the his shirt or whatever, and he's he's used his spear and jammed it into the side of this mountain, stop himself from going down. So now he's gonna grab the wizard and he's just gonna attempt to heave him back up to the surface, just throw him back up.
Yep, you're gonna throw Grips back up top. Just make a strength, 3d6 on strength.
All right.
Do it.
Hopefully simple enough. 7 out of 16.
Oh yeah, you throw Grips back and he lands foot first up there.
Excellent. I've got flying.
Grips, you're back on the ground. Is that all you're going to do, Balder?
I mean, if I can, I'll start climbing my way out. If not, then I'll save that for next turn.
Yeah,
if I can, I'll start climbing my way out.
Yeah, you can at least, begin your descent up, hopefully, ascent. Grips, you're on top of the ground now. What would you like to do?
Well, this is going just as I had planned. And therefore, I am well positioned to, well, let's do it this way. Let's cast, is there a stone nearby that I can crouch behind as I cast sleep on the witch?
Yeah, you're pretty sure you can find a little spot you want to get behind.
I remember I was once told that cover is a wizard's friend. It was in my, in one of the basic introductory lectures. So I'm seeking a tree or a promising boulder.
Yep, you can find you a little rock there somewhere off the side that you can do that.
Yeah, and so I'll just cast sleep.
You do that, and you send out your sleep spell, however it is manifested. And when it hits both her and Boxer that are standing there, Boxer shakes it off, and she looks at you with a smile and says, "Tis, tis, doesn't work on me." And she shakes it off also. Nothing happens.
Oh, shit.
I write it off as, that's the only lullaby you're going to get from me, sweetie.
When you say that, she starts cackling again. She's struggling with Boxers. It's up to her turn. Balder, everything goes pitch dark for you as the ground is sealed back up and you're trapped 10 feet in the earth.
Nice.
You notice it grips from where you're at. You see the ground that was once the hole that you and him were trapped in just automatically seals back up with rock and snow and dirt. We're back to the giant who is
dropped
frozen.
out there, Tony. What happened after the, what were you saying? The hole that I was once in is now just disappeared?
Yeah, I mean, it completely sealed up. It's back to rock and dirt, or rock and snow and ground, as you did not see Balder get out in time as he's been sealed in the earth. Giant is still frozen. So here, we're up to you.
Would I have to cross the frost witch to get to try to start, I don't know, digging out Balder?
To look for, to work where Boulder was and maybe trying to, you would have to, you could get I mean, you're not going to be that close to her, but you're definitely going to cross her vision, her path to get there.
Okay. Well, I'm just, the giant's kind of taken, he's held for now, and I want to kind of, I guess, move that way and see if there's something that I could do there.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of tools as far as a shovel? I mean, you could have one if you don't, but I mean, if you had any that come with that pack, if not,
I do. Yeah, I have a pickaxe.
Yeah, you can start doing that. That sounds great to me. We are up to Boxer then.
So I still have my vile dagger in front of her, right?
Yep, you still want to try to put the potion down her though? Struggle with her to do that, or?
Yeah, I didn't do this before, but it's kind of like an attack. So would I get my bonus from the bravery fluid?
Yeah, on the we'll just, if you're trying to pour the fluid down her, we'll do a D20 again. You can add that +1 to your rolls. Fine.
I'm gonna make another attempt. I'm sort of like at this point I'm kind of like angling for it. So would it be like a would I get a dexterity bonus to it as well, or just the
You know what?
bonus?
I'll give that to you too. So +2 to whatever you roll.
Okay, I'm trying to just like dodge her and like wrangle around and get this in. Oh, two plus 1 and 1 is 4. So
She breaks free from you and starts running away from you. She had a 16. So she is completely out of your grasp right now. She moves 10 feet away. Balder, you are in the ground, watching the dark. Grips, what would you like to do?
Yeah, these are all good questions. So she's running away. Does she have her back to me right now?
Oh, sure she did.
Well, that seems like as good a time as any to cast a web on her.
All right.
Nice.
I'm going to try and web her to catch her in a web, and if I can, any nearby shrubs or trees.
Yeah, there's some shrubs that are close to her little cabin or whatever. You can do that.
Is it her save or is it my?
She doesn't make one. It automatically will hit her as you cast the web in that area. You're able to, she's enough out of the way away from Boxer, but it doesn't catch him. So you have her webbed up right now.
And then I'm going to turn to Heward and say, do what you can with her. I'll deal with this.
Okay, cool.
Leave me your pickaxe, for God's sake.
Oh yeah, it's right by your loot.
My loot!
Ah!
You see her as it's her turn. You see her caught in this web. She starts cackling, this horrible, awful cackling. And she speaks out and goes, "Just because you have me caught doesn't mean I cannot still do things, just not certain things, but I can do this." And she starts cackling horribly towards where you are, Boxer. And make me a save, Boxer.
Okay. A D20?
Yep, D20. And you need equal to or higher than your save.
14.
Yep, that should pass. You're able to, that horrible cackling is awful that you're hearing, but you're able to knock off any of the effects from it. The giant is still held. So here, we're back to you.
All right, so I will attack the Frost Witch.
All right.
That is 17 to hit.
Yep, you hit her.
Excellent. And that's 2 points of damage.
Yep, you strike into her then. She doesn't like that for right now, but that's all that happens then. Boxer, you see the witch caught up in the web, and you see Hera trying to knock her out too.
So she can't move in the web, but she's doing stuff. So she's kind of restrained by that, like.
Yep, most definitely. She's restrained, but you know that she can still speak and talk and move her hands a little bit.
Okay. I was thinking something else, but yeah, no, I'm just gonna turn right back around. I'm just gonna turn right back into her and attack with the my short sword.
All right, perfect.
So I'll get a D20. I rolled a 6 plus 1 and 1 is an 8.
An 8 will miss her bad.
Yeah, well.
But you tried. You're there.
She's under the web. She's moving around back and forth, and I just can't seem to stab her.
Yep. You are trying. You may unfortunately cut a strand that was holding her. Maybe. Who knows? Let's hope not, huh? Balder, you're looking at the dark. Grips, we are up to you.
All right. So I've got my spyglass out almost instantly, and when I was shopping for the spyglasses, I got the kind that you could lock by turning it counterclockwise, so it could double as a club in a a tight moment, I'm going to use use Seward's pickaxe to break the glass on either end very quickly, shake the broken glass out, then get out my hammer into the ground, right where I know that I remember Balder having been.
All right, so you're going to start digging in the ground.
No, I am driving a breathing pipe down.
Huh, perfect. You can do that. Perfect. The witch is going to, you see also that she's been holding this sword this whole time while she's doing all these things. She is going to, let's see. Let's just see which one of you she's going to pick on. She's going to look at you, Hurd, as you're standing there.
Oh yeah.
And make me a saving throw as you start feeling warmth come across you.
No.
3d6.
No, just a d20, and you need it equal to or
save,
higher.
save,
Yep, say on your save.
Ooh, yeah, no, 8 under.
Yeah, you feel your whole body and your chainmail start warming up like it's more summertime, a hot summer day, as this
yeah.
heat just starts burning across your body, and you'll take 6 points of damage.
Oof, woof.
And that was
takes me down to 1.
Oh, no. And she starts cackling and laughing at that as we're back to the giant. Of course, he's, in suspense.
Now, I'm sorry, Tony, did you say that came from the sword, or she was still holding the sword?
No, she's still, just to let you know, she is still holding the sword, but that actually probably came from something she cast on him.
So she hasn't yet opened up her can of whoop ass.
Not yet, maybe. Who knows? You would know also, she's not looking too healthy herself. I mean, y'all have caught her by surprise with some of these strikes on her, but she's still standing, but she's not happy, but she's still not looking that good either.
What is the captain or the former captain doing during all of this?
He's been sitting in his cage. I mean, you can tell, he's been roughed up some, but he's just sitting there like he's in a trance. I mean, he's just kind of watching, but he's no reaction from him.
Yep, type 2.
So, yep, cured.
Michael? I think I just went. Or no. I just got damaged. Yep. I'm gonna have to cast Cure Wounds on myself.
All right, you can do that and roll your own HP back. It's fine.
1d6.
Should be a d6 plus 1. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So that gives me 4 points of damage back.
All righty. Sounds good.
Which keeps me breathing.
Yep. You see Hurd calling his god to help him out as he's not looking good, but it's up to you, Boxer.
She's just sort of moving around too much for me to get a decent stab on here. So she's still under this webbing though, right?
Yep, she's still stuck in the webbing, most definitely.
Can I well, I'll tell you what I want to do. I have this seemingly useless block and tackle here, but I want to see if I can just wind that around her head and just choke her off.
Yeah, you can just we'll say it's a missile attack. So make a regular attack with whatever you get for dex on your hits and all that to throw it around, see if you can get it around her.
I love it. A power Garrett.
Okay, 10 plus 1 and 1, 12.
Yep, you throw it, it hits her and stuff, but you do not get it exactly where you aimed it. But you do strike into her with it, but it doesn't get exactly how you wanted it.
Okay.
Part of the web stops it and catches it.
All right.
Balder, you're still on the ground. But you start hearing something, Balder, coming from the, kind of maybe some of the rock is shifting above you and stuff as you hear something coming down towards you. Grips, you still going to keep pounding the air tube down to him?
I'm pounding the air tube down.
All right, perfect. The witch is going to, I'm sorry, the beautiful woman, she's going to, oh, she is going to look over to where you are, Grips, and she starts cackling and laughing, and she goes, "You're not going to save him. He's dead. He's in the ground. He's dead, just like you're fixing to be." And as you do, you feel like rain is falling, but it's not rain. It's all these heavy ice shards just fall in a 20-foot radius around where you are, Grips, and they hit you, doing 5 points of damage as these shards just strike into you, Grips.
Ow.
And we're back to the giant then. He's held, nothing going on. Heward, what would you like to do?
I'm going to take full advantage of the fact that she is locked up in these webs and take another whack at her with my mace. That is 7.
Hopefully it'll be more effective than I was for the last 3 rounds.
I got a 9.
Oh man, a 9 with all your bonuses too now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Y'all, man, these
Unless
webs are stopping y'all.
Do I get some sort of advantage because she's wrapped up?
I would give you probably a number +2, but it's still not, you're still miserable.
Oh, it's still not enough. Yeah.
still
That
not
only
enough.
takes it to 11.
Yep.
Hey,
These webs are stopping y'all. The webs that
Yeah.
grip whatever level of spell of web that Grips used, probably at level 16 or whatever, you know, he really made them stuck good.
nice.
Boxer, how about you?
Yeah, I frequently use these for defense on myself, but
Man. So I can get back up in melee and like maybe I'll just try the sword again. I feel like there should be some advantage to like trying that. She keeps dodging me, but I'm gonna roll a hit with the sword.
All right.
her hand.
20 is 19 plus 1. I don't have the effect of the potion anymore, so it's just my dex.
Yeah, you strike it to her pretty heavy.
Okay, so that's a D. I got it's like in the rules it's a D6 minus 1 for the damage.
Yeah, a lot of they use a minus and +1 on a lot of different things. So yeah, if it's short sword, it'd be D6 -1 damage.
Dropping dice on the floor. Let's roll one. 2.
Yeah,
well,
you
plus
strike.
dex.
Yep, you strike into her. She's not happy though. I mean, at all. You can see she's looking tired as you strike into her.
Tired.
I mean, like y'all are wearing her down, son. Balder, you feel this tube that is being pushed down as it breaks the surface, and you start getting these surface airs. You have air now, Balder, but you're still under the ground. Grips, what would you like to do?
I confirm that he's safe down there.
Yeah, you can definitely feel. You can definitely feel that you broke the ground surface. You know, and you're in an open area. You're pretty confident that you reached where he's at.
Then I start telling him a joke about winter while I take the pickaxe and go at the ground near the telescope, the spyglass.
Kill the
All right.
witch yet?
Let's see. The witch is going to. She is going to look towards you, Boxer, as you struck into her just now. And she starts that hideous laughing and cackling again. So make me a save.
18.
Oh yeah, you know, it's just something about it. I mean, you like that kind of laugh, I guess.
I like
giant,
that. Maybe
yep,
she is my
like
type.
it. Yep, yeah, she is your type for sure. The giant is held. Heward, we're back to you.
Oh, all right. I'm going to take another whack at her.
All right.
The giant's still held?
Yep, he's still held.
All right, cool. I'm going to take. And that is an 11.
Nope. You'll miss her,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That's the way she goes.
Boxer, you're listening to this cackling and laughter as we're back to you then.
Back to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to try and jam this. If I can work past the webbing, I'm going to try and jam this flask back into her throat again. I feel like I'm going to try that again.
Yeah, roll D20, and I'll give you that +2 again.
13 plus 2, 15.
You
Plus dex, so like that would be 16.
you somehow get that flask in enough that she's probably not expecting you to do that. As she rolled a 6, you're able to put it down her throat, and as you do,
Break
Perfect.
it off in your mouth.
some bad die rolls for me, so it finally turns in y'all's favor. You start putting that down her throat, and she looks at you and she goes, "I would have never expected it from you. I thought you liked the way that I laughed." You see the top of her head start forming and turning as it starts going down her whole body as this potion takes effect and turns her to stone.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Well done. Well done. Where's my little clap function here?
Yeah, buddy. She has been turned to stone in this web. The giant is still held. What would y'all like to do? Is you are definitely out of combat for now.
Oof. Dig out.
I'm gonna
pick up
go.
my block and tackle.
I'm gonna go cast Charm Person on the giant.
All right. Let's see. He's your friend.
Excellent. Can you help me digging here?
He can.
That'd be
He has
great.
he has a huge shovel out behind the cabin he goes and gets.
Nice.
You'll want to be careful with that as you get down below about 5 feet.
Y'all are able to dig Balder. You hear this huge noise of this excavation of this dirt and rock. And next thing you know, you see this giant shovel blade come down and dig you out.
Thanks for that, mate. Thought I was going to be stuck down there for sure. Well,
We're a team.
back in the cold, I guess.
We have a new statue.
I see. Very good craftsmanship. I say we sell this, or I say we take this back to the fort and give it to them as a celebration of our deed. Let them write songs about us.
Or at least have a memorial garden.
I'd like to check on the former captain.
Yeah.
Slash new captain.
Yep, and you notice that once you go over there, his the way his demeanor earlier, where he was just very neutral, watching all this go on, and you notice that at that point, he yells out towards you. He goes, "Thank goodness, you got here in time. She was close to performing the ritual. Oh, thank goodness. She had me under some spell in here. Please, I'm back to myself. Let me out."
What ritual?
The sword, and you notice when he says that, you look over to where she is, and the sword is actually not turned to stone. The sword is still there in her stone hand. The sword, she found out that is a famous sword. That is a sword of winter. She found out, and she come and kidnapped me and made me show her the location of where it was hidden. She was going to use it to call the demons, the devils, the hordes of winter to take over the lands.
Oh yeah, we knew that.
I'm glad she didn't do that during combat.
I'd been explaining it to these guys on our way. It had all the hallmarks of just such a case.
Oh, I remember that. It was sometime
Listen.
around like late afternoon, right after we had eaten lunch, and you were going on about that. I remember now.
Oh,
Switch, huh? This ice switch was going to take over the land by freezing it, huh? Tell me, have you seen any lions or wardrobes around here?
No. Well, there's mountain lions, you know, up in the mountains, but no, she didn't have a wardrobe.
No lion, no wardrobe, just a witch. That's not a very interesting story.
If
Um,
her name's not Narnia, is it?
never know.
it's all very well and good to banter, but if it's warmer inside the house, I recommend we go in.
Should we,
Yeah, I guess-
should we grab that sword though and do something about it? I can put it in the scabbard at least, hold it securely. I don't think we
How
should
about
leave-
this? How about you hand me the scabbard? I'll take the sword and keep it secure for us.
Sure.
Perfect.
Boulder will take the sword and keep it safe.
Yeah, keep it.
By strapping it to his side.
You take the sword to break it loose from the stone hand and probably break her stone hand off as you're doing that.
Be careful with the hand.
But you take the sword, you put it in the scabbard, nothing changes to the scabbard. It's still the dull scabbard. Nothing changes with the sword as you do that. You get nothing changes with you as you do that. You're able to do that, secure it.
Okay.
I'm going to focus on the giant because although he's currently charmed, that'll wear off eventually, and I'd like him to still be our friend. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about what his what it would take to have him, you know, what he wants, what his goals are,
It won't wear off.
whether he was what he was getting from the witch and what we can give him for continuing with us.
Do you speak giant?
Let's see. My
What's your-
language is very,
What's your intelligence?
16.
Oh yeah, we can say giants when your languages. If anybody else wants to speak it or wanted to, he pretty much tells you that
I start in halfling though, and then move to giant if that doesn't work.
Yeah, he looks at you puzzled as can be until you get to the giant speech, and he pretty much tells you that she had recruited him and two others to go with her to attack the fort. That she was looking for some powerful magical item that she needed, and they didn't find it at the fort, but they went to that cabin and found the sword there that this human showed them. And the only thing he wants to do is, two family members were killed there at the fort. All he wants to do is return back to the mountains and be left alone.
And also, we can promise an honorable burial for your companions.
Yeah, he would ask if they could come down and retrieve the bodies. Exactly.
But just a moment, good sir. Let me consult with my friends as to how we can make this work best. And so I return to our language and ask if there's anything we need from this giant. It seems like
I think if the giants are typically seen as a threat in the area, perhaps we could use this as an opportunity to form a pact in the area. You know, some kind of mutual agreement.
sure. All right. So I inform him that I have to negotiate for a lasting peace, and I'm wondering if he is similarly a leader amongst his men, amongst his people.
He lets out a bellowing laughter as you ask him that, and I did not study and read books that much, but I can have the village elder. He can sign papers and stuff. He he will come with me and do that.
Excellent. That will be, and then we, I ask, I confirm with him the rituals that I may have heard of for making an agreement with a giant. I believe it involves slicing the back of one's hand and squeezing out 8 drops of blood, and the other is to drink it. And they do likewise. And then I remind him to do it gingerly, that we knock our foreheads together, and then we go on our separate ways. Do I need to make a save when he knocks my forehead?
No, you're okay.
All
He
right.
does. He since you're such a good friend, he doesn't hurt you that bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you weren't part of the conspiracy.
I would also like to offer him some dried beef and a loaf of bread for his journey back to his people.
Oh yeah, if you got food, he will definitely take it.
It's not giant
I'll
size,
offer-
but it's an entire loaf.
I'll offer some dried pork because I have some more. And I would also say, ask him to also bring some builders to help repair what was broken.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yep, and we are pretty much at the end of this adventure. And it's customary in my games, for the 3 of you who have not played with me before, at the end of the game, I always allow the players, whether you're alive or dead, I allow you to tell me how the story is going to end for your character. And then after that, I will tell you how the story really is going to end, of course. But Crystal, since you played quite a bit together, why don't you start us off and tell us how the story is going to end for Balder?
Balder heads back to the camp with the statue in tow, and once they get back and things start getting under control again with they get the camp built back up and the long haul and everything, Balder will boast of the story of he and his companions and how they fell the dreaded winter witch of Wellhelm, where they're currently at. And but he always tends to leave out that bit about where the earth closed over him, he totally made it out of that in time and, shot arrows at the witch.
Sounds good. And you said you were taking the stone statue of her back with you. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going to make a memorial around it.
And you're taking it back to the fort, okay?
Yep.
Sounds good. Maybe, maybe not. David, if you can tell me about Cured, how the story is going to end for him.
Heading back to the fort, there's definitely some sort of leading the men and arms back to some sort of regular station, and pouring a drink for them and all, and eventually he heads back to the big city and meets with members of his order and continues on.
Sounds great. And
Maybe.
Davin, how's it going to end for Boxer?
Boxer sort of rummages around in his pack and kind of talks with his comrades to try and find a little bit more parchment, kind of update his drawings. He works on a sketch of the new statue placed outside of the fort, and kind of chronicles the adventure. Makes a few notes in his journal about how we all sort of narrowly escaped this pretty difficult challenge, and how it was just a sheer matter of luck that who the hell knows what was in that fluid, or where that vial even came from. Just kind of just takes a moment to kind of take it all in and realize like how it all could have like ended up in complete death and destruction. and how we narrowly escaped the unleashing of demons into this world. Pretty satisfied that we worked together to save whatever doom was going to come. And, you know, pretty upset about the fact that he has no more peaches. But slips on his sandals, throws his cape back, tightens up the bandana above his knee, and feels pretty confident.
Sounds good to me. And Angus, if you can tell me about how Grips is going to end this story.
Oh, well, Grips, of course, finds his way inside the cabin, which is where he comes across the correspondence between our Winter Witch, which confirms his worst fears, that she's actually the lover of Lord Grogtipper, Baron Frumple Youngturnipp's chief advisor, and unfortunately the correspondence is in code, but he, rummaging around a little bit further, he finds the code book, and on the way back he begins to decode this correspondence, which shows in red-handed that Grogtipper was Grogtipper and the Winter Witch were together going to use this as a way to overthrow the barony, because they had recently discovered that near the fort there was an outcropping of enriched rubies. And enriched rubies, of course, can be distilled into a potion of immortality, which they were both planning to use to become lovers forever in a distant plane. But this was a conspiracy that I had never thought was actually possible. But of course, having discovered it, I have to take credit for having suspected it the whole time.
Can I add just like a footnote that having
You sure can.
Can I add a footnote that having seen this code book, and I haven't shared this with Angus, but I'm pretty convinced it's a recipe book on pickling and not a code book.
That's impossible.
I haven't shared that. You don't know that.
Perfect endings, one and all, for our characters. Now I will tell you how the story is really going to end. But before I do, this was a white box game called Whispers from Within. This was for the virtual GaryCon 12. I want to thank David for playing Cured, our cleric, Crystal for playing Balder the fighter, Davin playing Boxer the thief, and Angus bringing up old Grips the magic user. Now I will tell you how the story is really going to end. First, the weather pretty much returns to normal. The extreme cold seems to dissipate over the next day or so as the weather returns to normal. The giants bring in the educated giant who signs a contract and pretty much a peace treaty with the fort. And they take back the bodies with any help and have burials for them. They help repair the fort with some of their carpenters. Goes fine. Next, we go to a couple days later up in the mountains. This trail of we're observed with the snow orc tribe going across. You see the group of snow orcs kind of camped out in the middle of the mountains. And you see one of them dressed like with some robes and stuff. You know, he's probably some type of sorcerer or warlock of them. And he's speaking in orc. But those that speak orc can hear him go, my tube, I lost my tube, held my papers. Where's my copper tube? We must find it. Then we go to the great Baron's Youngturnipp's house, and he calls some of his servants in. He goes, someone has taken my orange blanket. My favorite orange blanket that I have, someone has taken it, and when I find it, they will hang from the apple tree out back while I eat one of my young turnips. And the last part of the ending is you've brought back the stone witch and put on display late one night. The two gate guards there get a sense of the wind as it blows over, very cold, and shiver. They shiver and get under their coats and their capes and think, "Oh, I hope it's not going to be like this again." You look towards the stone statue of the witch, the broken off hand. You see the statue start to kind of fade blue and turn blue and glow blue for just a moment. And you see it start chipping. Part of the stone starts chipping and breaking off. You see the hand that was not broken off as it starts turning back to flesh. That will end the adventure known as Whispers from Within. Thank y'all, everybody, for playing. I will end our broadcast, and we can visit a few minutes if y'all like.